So if a fragrance is going to claim to have honey, pipe tobacco, scotch, patchouli, peach, and elderberry in the note lineup, then I obviously have to check it out. Slumberhouse fragrances all come in one size 30 ml bottles for $160. You can get them from luckyscent.com. Slumberhouse is finally getting some much deserved attention, in my opinion. My favorite fragrance from this house, I'm just going to let you know right now, is called Or, and that is just a beautifully scrumptious, spicy cacao or cocoa based fragrance that is just absolutely to die for if you are a gourmand lover. Now, this fragrance in particular is called Kiste. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it is a new release, 2015 release, and it is getting a ton of love, a ton of hype, and for good reason. Now, for the presentation, they all come in a box like this. It'll say Slumberhouse, and then, of course, the name right there, and the fragrance will rest inside. Now, just so you know, this particular house redid their packaging, I believe, about a year ago. Before that, they did have bottles that had like little they looked like marbles inside of the bottles, and I believe the reason why they redid the packaging was because they couldn't, the perfumer couldn't get his hands on, I guess the marbles, A, cost too much for the presentation, and B, it was difficult to tell if you were getting the full amount of juice that you were supposed to be getting, so sometimes it'd be a little less, a little more, so he scrapped that idea, although the bottles did look very unique and pretty. I do actually like the older style bottles better than the newer style. The newer style has like an old world sort of feel to it, metallic, rustic sort of look. So it's definitely not a bad look. It's just, you know, the older style bottles I really did enjoy. So here's what they look like. Here is Kiste. No, I have not used this much, just so you know. But man, okay, so where to start with this fragrance? First and foremost, these are eau de parfum, I believe, or maybe eau de parfum extrait. I cannot remember. I believe it's eau de parfum. But they're very oily. I don't know if my camera can pick that up. Do you see how oily the bottle is on the inside? Kinda. Yeah. Okay. Very oily. Very, very long-lasting. For the first couple hours with every fragrance from Slumberhouse that I've tried Or, this, and a few others, Pure and Olive. They all project. They all last. Now, as you can see with the color of the juice, by the way, I don't know if I ever mentioned this on my channel, I am colorblind. So if I ever don't mention the color of something, it's because I can't see it. But, you know, darker brown juice, I don't know. But darker juice, don't spray this on your white t-shirt. Don't do it. You're going to stain it if it's, you know, closer. This one is definitely, all these fragrances from Slumberhouse are meant to be tried on your skin. They change, they develop, they're very oily, they will last and last and last all day. Not an issue at all. If anyone ever says in forums or anything else that one of these Slumberhouse fragrances isn't lasting, you call them on their lies. They sit on a throne of lies. With Slumberhouse Kiste, from the beginning, there's a real nice sort of peachy vibe in it. It almost reminds me of tobacco that comes in pouches, you know, pipe tobacco obviously, but there's definitely that nice boozy element to it in the beginning that a lot of the Slumberhouse fragrances do have with all of the openings of their fragrances. It's a bit off-putting at first too. It just seems like there's a little too much going on with the peachiness and the sort of resinous aspect. There has been people that have said that this smells like not resin but incense, so it has a resinous feel to it. I don't really get the incense comparison at all, to be honest with you. Some people say it smells like, you know, peach scented incense. To me, the peach is kind of short-lived. And as far as the elderberry note, I don't get that at all. I know elderberry is. I actually have an elderberry concentrated oil too that's all by itself. I don't get any of that. Really, what this is a fruity, boozy pipe tobacco, just drizzled in honey. Imagine there's the Jack Daniels that comes out with their honey Jack Daniels. Imagine you're sipping that, sitting in, an old chair, an old leather chair, smoking your pipe tobacco, and it's got to be a dude that's just, covered in tattoos and, wearing all sorts of cool, rustic sort of clothing and, all that kind of stuff. Beard, big beard. That's this fragrance. I could picture, my grandfather, who is a woodworker and kind of, fits that picture, sort of wearing this fragrance and loving it. Am I saying that this is dated? Not at all. But I think there's a certain kind of person who can pull this fragrance off. That being said, it's a very welcoming, inviting, comforting scent. If you grew up around people who smoked pipe tobacco, now a lot of us have grandparents that, smoked pipe tobacco, I feel like this will be one that's going to be comforting to those people. If you like tobacco, the tobacco note, or the honey note in general, I really think you're going to love this. That being said, this fragrance, for the price point, it's worth every little freaking brown cent, because this stuff is just a longevity beast. The projection, the longevity, and the uniqueness. But that being said, there are other fragrances that do tobacco better than this, in my opinion. So if you're a big fan of other pipe tobacco fragrances, such as Shirgi, Pure Havane by Thierry Mugler, and this little gem right here, Kilian's Back to Black, you're going to notice that there's differences between all of them, obviously. There's obviously going to be some differences. They're not all meant to be the same thing. But they're, in all honesty, I feel like it's not fair to compare fragrances sometimes, unless they're blatant, clones, and they're trying to copy what's already been done. Obviously, then I will call it out if it's trying to be a copycat. But they're all so different that there's really no need to do that. They're all their own DNA, and they're all very good. But that being said, I did want to just say that out of all the pipe tobacco fragrances I've ever come across, this guy, by Kilian's Back to Black, is my personal choice above all else. Now, the reason why I'm a little let down by Kiste, I'm not let down at all. It's a very, very good fragrance. But what I personally thought was going to be sort of screaming at the rooftops, off the rooftops, was going to be the peach. The peach does not stick around long enough for me to even consider it a note. I can't pick it up that much. A lot of people say they can. It's just got a fruity element to the pipe tobacco. It's not necessarily that it's like, oh my god, that's peach. It doesn't even, no. In comparison to the slew of other peach fragrances I've tried, we have Chinatown and by Kilian's Forbidden Games. That kind of peach is kind of what I was looking for, mixed in with a pipe tobacco, and it's more or less, the peach schnapps sort of vibe you get with Forbidden Games. I wanted that in Kiste. Now, if that peach schnapps vibe from Forbidden Games was in Kiste, mixed in with the tobacco, the honey, and the sort of Scotch element, oh my god, I'd be drooling. But what I got was just a nice, fruity, gourmandish sort of pipe tobacco, and not that there's anything wrong with that. But the problem is, as far as my fragrance journey goes, personally, I've already found the pipe tobacco fragrance that I want, and that's Kilian's Back to Black. And there hasn't been anything yet that's kind of pushed that away from taking the #1 spot for pipe tobacco fragrances, in my opinion. It is, fruity, delicious pipe tobacco that just suits my personality and what I want for that type of fragrance. But that being said, Back to Black is a lighter, more youthful, fun, romantic sort of pipe tobacco. Kiste is more of the old world sort of man or woman sitting in a leather chair surrounded by, I don't know, all sorts of old-fashioned sort of gadgets and stuff. I just feel like it's got a whole different sort of element to it and it makes it so that it's worth buying and owning both. But I'm just letting you know that if I were to, if somebody were to ask me what is the quintessential pipe tobacco fragrance for me, I would say Back to Black. I just wanted to throw that in the video. But this, on its level, on its own terms, is a masterpiece, in all honesty. And longevity, literally 20 hours on my skin, literally. And yes, I do test this stuff. I go to school and I work full time, so I go right from work at 4:30 in the morning to school until 4:30 at night, to the gym without a shower. Without a shower. So, well, that's not necessarily true. I do shower between work and school. I have about an hour between the two. But I'm just letting you know that that whole long period of time, and then after the gym, this sticks on my skin after the gym too. So even sweat does not get rid of this stuff. If nothing else, this thing is meant to cut through all the different kinds of weather. It's meant to, be put through the worst test imaginable for longevity and just freaking kill it. Okay, so if nothing else, it has that going for it. No, but it is a beautiful fragrance. I highly recommend it. It is a unique fragrance. Slumberhouse in general is such a highly underrated fragrance house with just amazing compositions, and I just feel like you will not be disappointed with the house overall. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will talk to you all later. This has been Kiste, a romantic pipe tobacco fragrance with an old world touch that's going to leave you drooling.